How you guys doing? Hi, John. Uh, you want to sell a number of entry-level watches and buy one outstanding watch. That's always a good plan. Um, Depends on which entry-level ones you're talking about, really. Some of them are more easier to sell than others. One of the things I think that I've been recommending lately is auctions. You can do pretty well at auctions, but I don't think they take every watch that comes along. Hello, Forbin. How you doing? Tell him Willie Boy is here. Okay. Hi, Joseph. By the way, guys, is the sound all right? You be able to hear me? Okay. I got my little microphone here, and the video okay. Just checking, making sure everything's all right. Okie doke. Anyway, hey, how you doing, Clyde? Good to see you. There's I mean, God, I start looking like Gabby Hayes pretty much. Hi, Britt. Um, what I did after this morning, we had been talking about the same thing, basically doing all kinds of what stuff. Hey, watch Nicholas. And one of the things we did talk about was that how some people took absolutely almost no effort. I'll put it that way, or didn't even think about having a good picture of their watch. And so this is a one of the things I'm going to move this around. This one I'm trying to get the trying. Speaking of light, for some reason I'm getting glare in my glasses. Um, so what I did, I thought, well, I'll go out and take a look and see if I can find any. And sure enough, it didn't take long. And there weren't as many as there used to be. And I didn't just on a quick pass, I didn't find anything that was, uh, you know, out of focus for some reason. What I decided to do, I got the URL here, and the first one I want to talk about this guy right here, and there's the what he did is that on the watch you can see the sky. I mean, it's like, you know, when you look at a watch, you want to see the dial, and like that, you can't see much of it, but you got a still watch, and you ought to be able to move it around. Um, hey, Greg, how are things in Las Vegas? Las Vegas has got one of the best number of watch shops around. Hi, Mustafa. How are you? How are things in Turkey? uh, let's see. I used to use CL to buy and sell because CL. Um, what is CL, Clyde? Because nothing says luxury watch sale like two heavily armed men meeting in an alley behind Starbucks. Oh, Craigslist, my God. Yeah, I Craigslist is one of those. Even I won't go there. There are very few places that with the right watch that I wouldn't go. But Craigslist is. I wouldn't even think of buying a watch on Craigslist. And I was before we got started. I was looking at a video I did of, I think it was this watch. Yeah, it was this watch right here. This is my Jacques Droz with a Jacques 736 movement in it, and I was taking a look at it. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, Clyde, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were the one who put me up to it. Yeah. Said, "Oh, hey, there's a Jacques Droz with a 736 in it." Anyway, that's how I got it. But I got it through eBay, and eBay has this thing that I really like called the authenticator. And a lot of guys have watches. They don't pay much attention to the box of the papers, and or they buy it from somebody who didn't. And So, uh, anyhow, what this came with their authenticator program, I really, really like for buying a watch and for selling a watch because in buying one, they go and they take a look at it and have somebody who knows a thing or two and says, "Oh yeah, this is a real deal," and they give you a little card that is sort of like what you would have with lost papers, and they have all of the information about it and when it was authenticated, which I think is a very nice service. Um, Yeah, before they had that, I bought some watches from eBay, before they had the authenticator program, and I had nothing but good luck. One of I mean, there's some watches I really like a lot, but, um, you, yeah, I did. That was the one, Corbin, that was the link to a Rolex. I was thinking, here are some people trying to sell a watch. They take a picture of it, they're outside, and the reflection of it. One, let me show you this guy. Now, this is really surprising because this guy right here, this next one I'm gonna show you, this guy's got like a jungle background. One of the things he uses, I think he I think he likes to take them outside. One of the best lighting that you can get, if you take a watch outside on a cloudy day and it diffuses the light and really is you get some very good lighting that way. And maybe that's why the guy was taking it outside, but he had it over a very noisy background. Hang on a sec, let me uh, put it here for you. There, you can take a look at this. And uh, but at first, I thought, here's some amateur, but then I saw a whole lot of them, and apparently he's a dealer. And it was sort of like, "Ooh, was he really thinking about that?" Um, Sitting back in time by watching it. Are you oh, yeah, I know. That was the Chrono 24 link to a Rolex. Yeah, that's basically what I did. I I thought, "Well, I'll take a look at some different watches," and it took me, like, 2 seconds to find one like that. And again, you wonder, there was this one. Oh, I gotta show you this one. Let me see, where is it? Here it is. Um, this guy was selling a $47,000 watch, and, you know, this is and so he does this, and the light messes up his thing. It looks like it's got a top and a bottom to it. Like it doesn't look like the watch. But if you're trying to sell a $47,000 watch, you know, you really ought to do things. Hey there, aisle 29. How you doing? What was this? Hey, BYL. Okay. Hey, BYL. I see the horns reflected in the background. Yeah, run like run like mad. Um, but this is what are some of the people thinking? Earlier today, Rancher pointed out is that some people don't have their watch in focus. I mean, they just like, what are they thinking? They put an out of focus watch up there. Um, some companies, I think, will do that for you, and if you're a watch dealer and you cannot absolutely stand the idea of spending 5 minutes on each watch that comes in and make some good photographs at it, yeah, send it off. Uh, like the back on the paddock link. Yeah, there's a lot to like about the watch, but like I said, on a $47,000 watch, you'd think that somebody would take a little time. Uh, in looking at them, I did find more examples of people who were selling them as individuals, and I suppose that's somewhat understandable. But you don't have to. It's not rocket science. Two of the sketchiest people posted a link, for a Rolex, including out of focus pictures in a listing. It was one of the rarest Rolexes ever made. Yeah, that's another thing too, Clyde. Make sure that if you have a phony watch, make sure it's out of focus. You don't wanna some guy tried to sell me some guy in Australia. There was trying to remember what it was. It was FP Journe. I think it was a blue. I'm not sure what it was. And so the guy, I asked him, what you usually ask people to do if you're not too sure who they are, is that you ask them to, set it to different times. So the guy did, and he said, "I'll be back later." So I think he took a picture of a watch, photoshopped the different times I asked for, and then put them back on. And it was, there was something about the guy that was just wrong, and so I passed on it. Hey, Mr. Gumby and Junior, how you guys doing? Least time, hi. How are you? How are things in Germany? Hi, Tim. Tim, I think Tim, you live in a world where it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Okay. So those are that was one of the things. Hey, Mark. Uh, what are some other ones in terms of selling watches? I told you about that guy who wanted me to go hire a courier and have it brought to have them take it to FedEx. But that is sort of another thing is that if you're selling a watch, you want to make it as easy as possible for the buyer to get the watch, and also too, you want to make sure that it's easy as possible to get paid. And that's one thing that seems to work very well with both Chrono 24 and with the eBay. With auctions, it's very easy to get paid, but it takes forever. You're paid what's called the hammer price. The real price is the hammer price plus about 25% more. But then they take their sweet time paying you. But if you buy a watch, they want it right away, which I thought was sort of interesting. But yeah, that's that. But they do a good job. That was one thing I was gonna ask you about. Um, I have sold a watch with with an auction. It was a pretty good watch, and there was something about auctions is that if you have a watch that's a good watch, but not everybody knows what's going on with it. Uh, it's sometimes it's really good with an auction because what I found on auctions is that the people who go to auctions know their stuff. I mean, they really do. Is that the the if you have a watch that is, it's not a Rolex, not a Patek Philippe, it's not an Omega or one of the more common ones. Or even now, it's not an FP Journe. My God, you have an FP Journe at an auction, they go nuts. But this is my one of the ones I forgot. I may have gotten this on eBay. I think I did, but I'm not sure. Um, this is an Easy Diver by Roger Dubuis, and the thing about this one and most of the other Roger Dubuis, they have the Geneva seal. Before 2007 or 2009, whenever it was, when Patek Philippe got into a beef with the Geneva Seal people, just about all of the Geneva Seals went to Patek Philippe. Every now and then, Vacheron Constantin would get one, and a few others, but one that was almost always had a Geneva Seal was a Roger Dubuis. And the Easy Divers watch with an in-house movement and everything else about it. These, if you sell these at auctions, you do a lot better because people know what they're doing. On the other hand, there are a lot of people, and I'm not making fun of anybody in this group, but they will see this and they'll say, "Oh, I'd rather have a sub, a Rolex sub." I'm thinking, okay, why? But I don't want to get into like, oh, mine's better than yours or anything like that. But you will have certain features, and with a really top designer. Also, too, is that uh, there was a period when Jean Marc Viderec and Roger Dubuis were working together on certain watches, and Roger Dubuis was making these perpetual calendars, and Jean-Marc Viderec was making retrogrades, and that was how I got my Harry Winston. Now the good thing about it for the collector, if you know those kinds of things, and everybody else is looking for Men on the Moon and a sub or something like that. And I'm not saying anything was wrong with those. I'm simply saying is that where you want to be to get a good watch and the best price on it is where everybody else isn't. That's and one of the places where if someone's asleep at the wheel, you can go to an auction and find some really good ones, and they're just people aren't into it that day or something. But man, I tell you, if they wise up to it, I saw this one go from zero to more than I wanted to pay for it in a very quick time. And so so if you do know a watch, for example, I think I talked about this a little this morning. I don't know if I should mention it or not, because I think the rancher wouldn't want to want me to mention it. Oh, I will. There's a Cartier with a THA movement, and most people, they don't know what THA is. Well, THA was a group that was put together with FP Journe and Vianney Halter and some of these other guys. It was like 1999 or 2000, right in there. It was right before FP Journe went off on his own, and some of these other people who were involved. And there's this one Cartier called the Torture. It was a monopusher, and that thing has one of those THA movements. You flip the thing over and you take a look at it, and my God, the thing doesn't look like any of the other Cartier. And so there's certain places, if somebody doesn't know what they've got, it could end up on eBay. God forbid, it could end up on Craigslist. I've never even looked at for a watch there, but it could end up on eBay, and that's where you can get a good deal on that. On the other hand, if the same watch ended up on an auction, they're going to be people who know what kind of movement that has, and so it's a funny kind of thing. If you want to sell on an auction and you have something like that, that's a great place to sell because the people are going to know that's a watch worth having, and so you're going to have a higher bid. Put it on eBay, someone's going to see it like a vulture in a tree and go, you know, these guys don't know what that is, and swoop on it and get it for a really good price. So anyway, that's one of those things. Uh, yeah, Joseph, you're right. It is vastly underrated. The other thing too, not long after I got this, all of a sudden the prices started moving up very quickly, and I was, like I said, I was very fortunate. This one has the gold rotor in the back and a few other things like that that not all of them had. The only problem with it is that the band is just a skosh short, and trying to find another band for an easy diver that actually fits, at least fits this model, has not been easy. So I've been on a regimen of trying to lose weight so it'll fit. Okay, let's see what you got. Hey, Truman, how you doing, man? Uh, Movements hidden in obscurity. Have any favorites? That's one of them. Yeah, the THA. There's another one. My monoretropont, my Beauvais monoretropont, is that the it's sort of the Zen mystery of one hand clapping. That's one hand doing doing a retropont. Hey, Greg, what's up? Bought a Hamilton khaki from Shopworn. Love that place, by the way. Shop worn. I'm trying to think which one I got from there. I got one of my watches, one of my favorite watches. I think, a few years ago, I got it I believe I got the Parmigiani hemispheres, and I got it for a great price from them. That thing dried up a few years ago in terms of the Parmigiani, but you can get some great deals there. Same thing is true with the Joma shop too. Okay, let's see what Greg says. Bought a Hamilton khaki from Shop Worn, and the picture and the details were correct. And they sent me a 2012 model that was different. I had to send pictures of their mistake in order to get refunded. You know, I that's good to hear because I think any company that does that is they're showing some integrity. They may be waiting for some buyer who just fell off the turnip truck. They're not going to really THC. I don't even know what THC stands for. Cartier actions have been a peanut. Okay. Hey, Vladimir, how you doing, man? Uh, okay, let's see. What is if someone were coming to you, all right, and they're just getting into watch collection, and they ask you, how should I go about buying a watch? What would be a good place to start, and so forth? What would you tell them? What would be your one piece of advice? Hey, Forbin, Ario Bacchus behind a Phillips Carter torture action last May. Once RL has his hooks in it, seems like the word's out. Ah, I imagine you're right, Forbin, because when I was looking at him a number of years ago, it was sort of like, well, I know about them, but I didn't get one because I think they're like 34 millimeter or something like that. I just didn't want to watch that small. I had sold Audemars Piguet. That was a problem with it. It was just too small for me. It was like I think it was probably 34, 35 millimeter. When I sold my Patek Philippe, the same thing. It was just too small. I like bigger watches. Now this one's almost too big, but um, you know, you like what you like. I think people with smaller wrist have it made because I think there are a lot of really good buys out there in 34 millimeters, and that the people who would rather have that size, or even 36 millimeters. THC. Listen, there's so much stuff I don't know, Rancher. No idea. Um, hey, Quarters Eye, how you doing? Okay, 38 millimeter to 40 millimeter, the best size. Yeah, that's sort of my sweet spot too. There's a certain area you like. I, to me, it's more like 38 to more like 42. And then giant ones like this H Moser. You buy a watch like you buy a Maserati, same feelings. You bet. Um, I tell you, getting to the point now of Maseratis looking like a bargain. The prices have gone so crazy with watches. Well, like I said, we're really in a great seller's market, and I think it's a good time to sell. I mean, if you're thinking of selling some watches, now is a good time to do it. I'd been thinking of selling a couple, and then I went ahead and did it, and it turned out pretty well. There are a couple more I think I've gotta sort of get my act together. There are like 3 I said, "I'm gonna sell all of these together, and then I'm not gonna have to worry about it, and, we'll see what happens." And because I've got my eye on some other ones too. Looking at watches is I mean, for people like us, I mean, it's like, somebody waiting for a dope dealer on a corner. It's just crazy. It really is. And the tough part is that in a seller's market, you got to find something that's out of sync. and hope and pray that there's nothing wrong with it. Um, the good deals have always been out there. It just takes most of the time to realize what they are. Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't put it any better myself. This is why I started off with what I do with it. With this guy, this is one. I don't know why. Uh, it just was, well, an easy diver, sort of, and sort of an unusual looking watch. And but man, what a watch. This thing is it's just really turned out to be a really great one. And like I said, the only thing about it is the band. And if they have one of these big ones. One possibility is probably I'll just go down and have somebody make one for me. There are some jobbers who sell them, and you get this thing, and it's not quite for this model. It's for a little different model, and so I'll eventually find it. In the meantime, I can wear it without a big problem. But that's another thing too, is that you don't want to get a watch you can't wear, and so that's another issue. Usually, the guy that I bought this from, by the way, too, you talk about buying a seller and not just the product. The guy that I bought this from, um, he must have told me 5 or 6 times. He said, "Now listen, this has got a shorter band. Are you okay with that?" And he gave me the dimensions, and I said, "Yeah," thinking all along, "I'll just go get another band." Well, I didn't didn't quite know that. Um, the key is to be financially ready to pounce any sudden great deal. That is true, Joseph. That is very true. See, this is where I get in trouble with trade-ins. There'll be a really great deal, and I'll pounce on it and don't quite have enough money, but I got enough watches to trade in, and so I'll make a deal trading it in, not do so great on the trade-in. But I have you ever been a watch collector who's impulsive? I never have. Hey, Roar the Tiger, how you doing? Thanks to my former comrades in arms, soldiers of the Royal Thai Arms, who introduced me. TCH is what makes me happy. THC, I mean, I have no idea what that means. Oh, THC, the active ingredient in cannabis. Okay. I should have known that too. I got a friend who's an inventor, and this is what he invented. Uh, he invented a a device that looks like a Keurig coffee thing, with those little boxes, I guess, the little drums, and you put them in for your coffee. Well, he made one for brewing up, I think, a marijuana, and you pop it in there, and take a hit off of it. And I don't know how he did it, but I think it wasn't. Um, I think he made like a tea or something out of it. I'm not sure what he did, but apparently his business is doing pretty well right now. Because up in Massachusetts, where the guy lives, marijuana is legal. It's legal here in Connecticut too. And I don't know if people are going to go running down and grabbing it. They have it's funny if somebody wanted something, they could go up to Springfield if they don't feel like driving around Springfield. You go to your local high school, they got plenty of it there. It's I don't know, it's sort of just sort of a weird thing. Uh, you can't buy the seller, uh, 8 amendment 8th Amendment. You're right, you can't buy the seller. What you should say, you buy from the seller or know your seller. Um, okay, so, back to this. Let me give you some more. Let me see. Did you see that one with the glare, that I had? Oh, here's one. This is another one. Check this one out. Here's the guy's reflection. Okay, he goes and he's taking his picture, and his face is in the watch. Let me show you. There we go. Uh, yeah, THA, that's what we've been talking about, the early company associated with Halter and FP Jorn and Flagler. Yeah, that was, yeah, Joseph, that was the one that I had mentioned earlier. And but see, the thing of it is that you've got to recognize they were the ones who made the movement, and this was so in buying a watch, you want to buy it with that knowledge, and not necessarily everybody else has it. And that's where you can find things on places like eBay and Chrono 24. On the other hand, you go to one of these auctions, and by the auctions, I mean there's auctions on eBay, but I mean sort of like Christie's and Sotheby's and Phillips. You go to one of those auctions, and there are people there that they know their stuff. So if you're looking for a THA, maybe you ought to sort of stick around eBay, because people buy on eBay for the most part, selling them too. They don't. They really wouldn't know, but if they did it on an auction, they probably would. Picking up the Chrono Swiss Balance Retrograde this coming spring. Oh wow! I'll send a few photos after I pick up. Seriously considering the Kadoki 2 in April. What are your thoughts? I like the Kadoki 2, and the thing about a Kadoki 2 is that I like that type of watch. Here you have a simple. This is a time only watch, but it's got a day night thing to it. That's a very nice watch. Um, and the Chrono Swiss Balance Retrograde, I'm afraid I don't know that one. Do not take pictures of your watch. No, that's a very important one. I don't know, send it to. there, there's y- there's maybe there are some forums you can sell them on for doing that. Hi, CB Banks, how you doing, man? Uh, Funny how the gondolo seller takes care to pose with whiskey in the photo, yet watch picks him. Oh, I did I have that one up? The gondolo is one of my favorites. Now, see this the thing that's interesting about gondolos. You sort of have the before and after. Since I'm not a big fan of silicon in watches, I sort of after all of the Patek Philippe's, they started using silicon hairsprings. I sort of have totally lost interest in them. But on the other hand, the same models that they had before they started doing that, they're easy to spot, because it was when they started putting in the silicon that the Geneva Seal people said, forget about it. We're not going to give you a Geneva Seal if you're putting in silicon. And Patek Philippe told them to stuff it, and they do what they wanted to, and then they have their own seal, which I still think is a uh, just sort of a dumb move. But for the collector, if who have that kind of I don't know if it's an idiosyncrasy or simply a value about watch collection, that you don't want the silicon. The way to spot it, the lack of it in a or the presence of it in a Patek Philippe is simply, do they have the Geneva seal or not? And if they don't, then yeah, then it's they don't have it in there. Um, hey, Velvia, man, I hate these bare fit. Oh God, yes. Oh, Velvia, I don't know if they do it. Yeah, they take a picture of it and they don't crop it. They act, and that's what you see. Somebody in flip flops or gross feet or something like that, or some other thing in the background that just, yeah, that's a very good point. And not only that, but the to me the one that is the most egregious are the camouflages, and they think they're being cool or something like that. If you're selling a field watch and you put it against a camouflage, it's just not going to make it look more like a field watch. It's just going to make the features more indistinct, because that's what the purpose of camouflage is. So yeah, that's a good one. You have or bare feet and shorts. Man, it's like, this has to do with just taking a little time. I don't take a great deal of time. Put it on my desk someplace solid and, take a you know, get a get my camera, my phone and so it doesn't move around. Works out great. Oh, hey Tenzil, how you doing? Does Geneva seal mean anything these days? Even a seal on a Vessel 56 with a Cartier movement. Truman, you're actually not correct about that. Okay, here's the thing: on a Vacheron 56 with it's not a Cartier, it's a Val Fleurier. True. The designer of the movement was the head of movements at Cartier, and she is now the head of movements at Tag Heuer. Her stuff is very, very good. Okay, but they don't have a Geneva seal. Take a look. They don't get the Geneva seal in the 56 series until the next level where they have the whole movement was done by Vacheron Constantin. Uh, so yeah, it does mean something. Um, okay, I gotta go. Oh, all right. Whoops. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you all for coming. By the way, let me remind you tomorrow at 2 o'clock on Flippin' Zippo's channel, there is a memorial for uh, Blue Shirt Buddha, Bruce. You guys know Bruce. And drop by. And if you want to say some nice things, I think he'd appreciate it. I know his wife would too. I'll be there. Hope to see you there. Take care. And okay, one last thing. Quarters, I watched a great documentary on Parmigiani Fleurier the other day. I'm seriously impressed with the brand. If Kadoki 2 is unavailable in April, I may be looking at a Tonda. Let me tell you something, Quarters Eye. Right now, go to a place called, it's one word, all lowercase, it's called the Watch Outlet dot shop. They have some fabulous deals. I mean, some really excellent deals on some of the best Parmigianis right now. There's one I'd love to have, but I can't afford it. And that's their QF, Quality Fleurier. Got some other ones there. Check that out. See you, Joseph, Vladimir. We'll see you guys.